In today's video, Dog Squad, and Merry Christmas here on Christmas Eve. I'm making this Week 17 or Week 16 reactions video. I haven't made a video in a while doing with this, but I've done other stuff, done our regular stuff, usually here on the channel. Go fill out that poll. Excuse me. Go fill out that poll. Determine what you want maybe to even get rid of, what you want me to maybe change. I'll probably put a poll out later. You have until Friday, or nothing. If nothing needs to be changed, nothing needs to be get rid of, then go ahead and vote that. That'll be due on Friday. But as we get into this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss one of my videos. We've been 900 for a while. I'll try to hit 1K soon. I'd like to hit it. I can't keep hitting a milestone because or a date. I really can't because just can't anymore. But let's get right into this video, Dog Squad. Here we go, Dog Squad. We'll start off with the Broncos and Chargers for Week 16. Broncos looked like they were going to have it first, but then ever since that free kick, the Chargers kind of went uphill from that, and the Broncos just couldn't play defense anymore. It seemed like, and the offense couldn't really get anything going besides until like the end when they got that field goal. But Bo Nix did have a pretty good game up till the very point. Herbert kind of led his team back. Ladd McConkey pretty well. Gus Edwards, of course, that's probably his best game of the year and probably of the career. Maybe, but I honestly think that's a pretty good game for him. You don't really see much out of him, and good that he got running back one since J.K. Dobbins was out. Ladd McConkey looking pretty good as a receiver one so far. The Broncos still looking pretty good. Both teams are still playoff contenders. The Broncos still trying to hit that playoff berth for the first time since 2015 when they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. They have not made the playoffs since. Chargers trying to win one. They're both trying to clinch one this week in Week 17, which we'll go over probably later when I get home after I'm done with my family and all that. Probably later tonight, 10, 11, something like that. That's when we'll do probably some scenarios this week for Week 17. The next week we'll look at the playoff picture going into Week 18, and we'll see the final scenarios before we finally understand our playoffs. Dallas is eliminated, so I'm not going to talk about them. Here we go. Next, we have, sorry, I have to keep going up. Texans and the Chiefs. That was on Saturday. Look, to tell you, the Texans and Chiefs, hey, the Chiefs played a closer game. They didn't get lucky or anything, like I've seen the past few times this year. They played a good Texans team. Of course, T.J. Stroud still not really having his good year that we have hoped. He's having a sophomore slump. That's also another reason why the Texans aren't as good. They also have injuries. Tank Dell even got hurt. Bad knee injury. Praise for him. Stephon Diggs has been hurt. Joe Mixon, they still don't know how to hand the ball off to him enough, as they have not really done since Week 11 when they played Dallas. That was really the last time he actually really went off, was against Dallas. So I don't know why they're not using him as much. They don't hand off the ball to him a lot. 14 carries. I mean, I guess that's good for a running back, but really, a whole game, 14 carries? It really seems like you should be getting more. But maybe I'm wrong, because Fremont only did get 11, so I don't know. I mean, true, 14 is quite a bit, but I guess you can't do anything with it. So you could just be saying he's not as playing well either. But Texans got close. They fought Kansas City. Their defense stood up in good positions. Their offense scored 27 points against a pretty good defense. It's gotten better over the past couple of weeks for them. Patrick Mahomes, 260 yards, 1 TD. Kareem Hunt even had a TD. Xavier Worthy had a TD. Pretty good for the Chiefs. But I don't think they are as dominant as for a 14-1 team. But they still did beat a team that is good. Ravens and Steelers. This was a dominant performance. It was getting close, kind of hanging around in there, but the Ravens kind of at the end went right through. Derrick Henry, 24 carries, 162 yards, did a great job for my fantasy team and for them. Lamar Jackson had a great game, 3 TDs, 1 reception. Zay Flowers hit exactly 100 yards and only 5 receptions. Calvin Austin looking pretty good, especially filling in for George Pickens. Jaylen Warren, best rusher out there. He's a pretty good running back too, but Russell Wilson had that pick 6, just terrible one, and then 2 TDs he had. So still didn't play a bad game up till when they started letting the Ravens pull ahead. I think this Ravens team, they are both over clinched the playoffs. They're still fighting for the division, and I think it's going to come down to who does it this week. But, of course, there are going to be scenarios that will come down to the wire in Week 18. That's probably what it's going to be. But they don't play each other because they already played each other twice. Next up, we now are moving to the Sunday games. This was a complete domination by the Falcons. The was a closer game at first, but then the Giants kept wanting to give the ball away to the Falcons. And Michael Penix, he did pretty well for his first game. I mean, he had an interception. Was not really his fault. Should have only really had 202 yards because for some reason, you have Kyle Pitts decides to give the ball away. Here you go. I don't know how that's even possible. Drew Lock had a TD and 2 interceptions. Not really a good game for him. He had a lot of passing yards though. Tyron Tracy, not really that good of a game either. Malik Neighbors, man, he wasted potential. They better get someone good at QB that next year. Darnell Mooney, 82 yards, leading receiver. Bijan was probably the best player on the field that day. Good for him with 94 yards and 2 TDs. There's a good takeaway defensive, dominated defense by the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, you can see Jesse Bates had a pick 6, and then that takeaway at the end for the Falcons. 34-7, they won it. They tried helping Dallas, but Philly couldn't do it, which we'll talk about Philly in just a second. Lions and the Bears. The last time they met up was on Thanksgiving. The Lions barely won that game. That's kind of when they started recognizing some injuries, but they dominated this one. Of course, that kind of Thanksgiving thing that they have. Jared Goff had an amazing game. That stumble pass. I wonder if that was actually drawn up for a reason. 336 yards. Whoa. 336 yards and 3 TDs. Good game for him. Jahmyr Gibbs. I miss Monty out there, especially for my fantasy team. 109 yards and 1 TD for Jahmyr Gibbs. I was playing against him. James Williams should have put him in. 143 yards and a TD. I'm going to probably put him in this week. Maybe. We'll see. He's on and off, but he played pretty well this game. And you love using him as a receiver too. And Keenan Allen's done much better. I drafted him, and I was doing so much better than he was at first. Caleb Williams had leading a rusher. That's kind of one sad at a point when your quarterback's better than your running back in a game. He actually had a pretty good game. I honestly think this had a fault the defense, but 17 points can win good games, but not against the Detroit Lions. Next up, we have the Cardinals and the Panthers. Bryce Young looking so much better. Really, the only bad game he's had in the past few weeks has really been against Dallas. But he's playing much better now. As you can see, 2 TDs, 158 yards, got the Panthers to win. And then Kyler Murray got them in overtime. Kyler Murray, 202 yards, 1 TD, and 1 reception. So, he didn't have a terrible game. He ran in for a rushing TD as well. James Conner, he's doing much better as a running back. He was still underrated. He's been going underrated all this season. James Conner also led in receiving. Adam Thielen's on a, you didn't really think after switching from the Vikings to the Panthers, maybe are you in a worse environment? Has really gone off this year. Chuba Hubbard's one of the top 10 running backs in rushing yards this year. He had 2 TDs, 152 yards. So good job from him. Panthers team looking much better, I'd say. They have 4 wins though, but they could easily get better next year with some development in the offseason. The Cardinals already eliminated from playoff contention now, but they had a much better season as squad. Here I'm back from Christmas Eve. My family is now 10:26 p.m. I'm now also have my Cowboys hoodie on. I got here, as you can see in the back, got a CeeDee Lamb thing. I don't know if you can really see it with my gaming chair, but it's a CeeDee Lamb thing I'll put on my wall as well as the others. I got a couple other things. So in my car, but we'll discuss more things what I got for Christmas. That'll probably also mostly have to do with Dallas and all that. But I'll let y'all know when Christmas is over, after tomorrow and all that. When I'm doing my Week 17 predictions. I was going to do it. I know there's 2 games tomorrow, but I'm just not going to have time to do it. Because I also need to do that scenario video short, so I'm not going to do it. Plus, we got plenty of games we can predict. It's okay to miss a couple because we do it about every week. So, but yes, it's also customizable. It says TreyDOG on the back. Can't really see it, but it says TreyDOG on the back. It says 60. So, but here we go. We're looking at the Rams and the Jets. This was obviously the best game. The Rams really haven't played their best offense since that Bills game. I think the last time they did end up playing was that Thursday game against the Niners, I believe. Was that actually the last time they played? Oh my gosh, that was last time they seriously played was then, a while back ago. But that was the last time they played. They did, the Jets seem to always fight with everyone, but the Aaron Rodgers did get 256 yards and a TD. Just some takeaways by the Rams kind of spoiled that. Matthew Stafford didn't have the best game, but they did get a TD and interception. Kyron Williams did have a non-bad game, 122 yards and TD, so pretty good game for him. Puka Nacua having 56 yards. So, of course, not his stellar game, but he did get it. Devontae Adams doing much better. I think if the Jets maybe have a chance of getting better next year, they could, but it is the Jets. Never know. Brees Hall, 52 yards. So, Jets 5-1. The Rams offense hasn't done as well as we would assume. The Jets defense is on and off. So that's what happened yesterday or Sunday. The Eagles and the Commanders, heartbreaking for Eagles fans. I laugh at that, but also heartbreaking for Dallas, which I don't think we were making the playoffs anyways. Jalen Hurts going down, so that's why Kenny Pickett led in passing yards, 143 yards, a TD interception. It's not the best. It's a good guy to, deliver that. Didn't do too bad, but a lot of field goals came from that time. Got him down the field, just not enough to punch them like Jalen would do. Jaden Daniels, 5 TDs and 2 interceptions. A great game for him against one of the best defenses, 258 yards. So good game. Obviously, for Jaden Daniels, the rookie, could easily get Offensive Rookie of the Year. He also led him rushing. Saquon, 2 TDs and 50 yards, had a great game. It's going to be scary when we play him next week, but they also load the box after that, so that's why he wasn't able to do anything. A.J. Brown, 97 yards of TD. They're starting to go to him more. And Zacchaeus was 70 yards and 2 TDs, so we don't hear much about him, but he had a pretty good game against the Eagles. Another, like I said, a pretty good scoring defense. Jane Daniels could find himself probably going to now be the new franchise QB, probably a future franchise QB for the Commanders. The Commanders easily could. They probably won't go far, but I think they might actually be able to win their first playoff game in a while. But we'll see what happens. Philly going to hopefully have Jalen Hurts back. Hoping, I don't, but hoping for as a human being that he is okay and he recovers safely. But I don't want him back because I don't want the Eagles succeeding. So. But as a human being, of course, you want to make sure he's okay. Browns and Bengals. The bad Torian DTR, of course, not a good QB. Browns are obviously going to have to draft one. Jerome Ford, man, he's doing his job. He's a running back 2, but he could potentially be running back 1 of Jerome Ford. We kind of saw that at the beginning of the season when Nick Chubb was hurt. He now is kind of showing that when Nick Chubb's also hurt again. I don't think Nick Chubb's going to be coming back. He's got to retire because he gets hurt every single year. There's something like that. Sorry. Njoku, 66 yards. Joe Burrow, another good game. Offense, I would assume they would have done better, but hey, Joe Burrow did throw for 3 TDs. Jamar Chase having one of those. Chase Brown, almost 100 yards of 18 carries. So defense actually played pretty well, but they are playing a bad Browns offense. You benched Jameson Winston, so really don't know why. Even though you assuming DTR is going to do something about that. I don't know. So, since he has a chance to make the playoffs and they got potential scenarios, which we'll go over later, I'll post that video either today or be posted tomorrow. So now we move on to the next game, which is the Titans and the Colts. This was almost pulling the Colts against the Vikings game. Almost let a comeback happen, but the Colts were able to do something. Mason Rudolph, 2 TDs, 3 interceptions. The Titans might have to go back for another QB. Tony Pollard, 35 yards, so not really a good game for him. Aquanu, 81 yards. Receiving, Anthony Richardson with a TD, interception, 131 yards. Jonathan Taylor making up for that drop ball before the end zone fumble he had the previous week against Denver, making up for it. 218 yards and 3 TDs. He had 50-something fantasy points. And he went off, made up for that mistake. That could have cost them the game. About cost them the game against the Broncos. Josh Downs had a TD and 61 yards. He's basically being Michael Pittman this year. Michael Pittman's not actually having his year as he had last year. But the Colts also aren't really having that year that maybe some people thought. Even though they're still 7-8, closing in, they had a playoff shot last year. They were a little bit more, but they were better at that. But AR will get better as a QB. This game was a blowout with the Colts, pure domination. Titans are going to have to get better at some point, and they're going to look hopefully for this offseason to do so because there's too many eliminations from them. Vikings, of course, soaring with Sam Darnold, 3 TDs. Aaron Jones, no TDs, but had a good 67 yards with the best game, but he had but it was okay game. Justin Jefferson, once again, having 144 yards and 2 TDs. Hurt my chances at my fantasy playoffs, but it's okay, because I probably won't win anyway. Geno Smith, 3 TDs and 2 interceptions. I don't think that was a DK running the right route at the end, but he did have, and Geno had 314 yards. So, pretty good game for him. Seahawks couldn't get the job done at the end. Stopped the run pretty well with big old Kenneth Walker, Jackson Smith, and Jigba having probably his best year of his career. And, of course, the Seahawks having their best year in a while. But they still can get the job done. They almost got the win. They were up at first. It was a good battle for Seattle. And they played much better than they did against Green Bay. It was a much better team. Now we'll see who is the better team and who has a chance at the division, Green Bay or Minnesota. Next week, Minnesota, already beat them and almost choked that game. But they had it. But Sam Darnold, of course, was kind of proving people wrong at that point of the year. And he still is. Of course, people know more about him. And now we move on to the Patriots and the Bills, which this was not the best game from the Bills. We saw Drake May outperform Josh Allen. That is not something you want to have as a Bills fan. No into the division game. You're going to have a sloppy game. We haven't really seen that lately from Josh Allen, so it's okay. It hurt my fantasy team, but the Bills are going to be fine. Their offense is doing pretty well this year. Their defense needs work. We kind of figured that after a lot of their secondary was hurt and leaving. But their offense is cooking, and Josh Allen's been an MVP candidate this year. James Cook's had a really good year. He had a TD in rushing and receiving this year. Patriots weren't bad. They just need some more development. Got to just get Drake May some better weapons. I mean, sure, Bote is fine, but there are a lot of inconsistent receivers. Ramondre Stevenson's good running back to have. You just need to fill up everything and fill up their defense. But they played pretty well against Josh Allen. You know, the Patriots' defense isn't always terrible, but it is this year. Next up, Jaguars and the Raiders. It was just a bad game. We obviously knew it was going to be two bad teams hoping to just win. Or I don't know why I don't know why they don't just tank. Because if you're that low, I get like Dallas and San Fran, but like not them. Like when you're that slow and you're trying to win ball games. I don't get it. But the Raiders get the win. They didn't count 257 passing yards. Matt Jones having 247 passing yards with a TD. Tank Bigsby, 50 yards. One TD. The Jaguars really don't have a bad roster. They just got to get surrounded. They got to get a better defense. Got to get a better secondary. All of that. And they can win games. They have good enough rush. Josh Hines, Allen, got Walker. I don't really understand why the Jaguars aren't as good, but you don't have Trevor, you don't have Etienne. You get everyone healthy, you'll be able to win games, and I don't know if Doug Peterson should go or not. You got Brian Thomas Jr. is coming to have a great rookie year, and so is Brock Bowers. Abdullah had a rushing yards. He had a TD, not a lot of rushing yards, but he did have a TD. Aiden O'Connell. He is not their QB to have. They're going to need a tank for someone. So just be in mind that I thought the Raiders would do well this year. I just don't think they've got the roster. I don't think it's Antonio Pierce. Just don't think they have the roster this year. All right, next up, the Niners and the Dolphins, man. This Niners team, obviously injuries are fooling up with them. The undiscipline of Kyle Shanahan this year has just been atrocious. Obviously, Deebo Samuel not really doing well anymore. The receiving core is falling apart a little bit. This is not on Purdy. Their O-line's terrible. The Brock Purdy 313 yards, 2 TDs, and an interception. They also led in rushing. George Kittle with 106 yards. Not really surprising. Tua Tagovailoa 215 yards and a TD. Devon Achane went off with it for a running back, 120 yards and a TD. He also led in receiving, so that also hurt me in fantasy. Great week for the Dolphins. Still in contention. They've got a high-powered offense. They used it. They don't use Tyreek as much, but they use him in a TD position. They've got a chance. I don't think they'll win one. But if they can win off, they can make the playoffs of injuries, they have a good shot at doing so. This Dolphins team was supposed to go further if it wasn't for the injuries. And I think it would have, if it wasn't for the injuries, I honestly think they could have battled with the Bills in a much more exciting division, especially if the Jets were better. Weren't expecting the Patriots to do anything, but all right. So now we move on to Sunday football game, which I was there. Great defensive performance by the Dallas Cowboys. Stopped Baker at his shoes, but Baker kept on fighting. He was able to get 2 TDs and an interception, 303 yards, 68 yards. Bucky Irving stood to be at running back 1, and he would be. They need to use him a lot more, especially in this crucial situations, not putting Rashad White in. But you're supposed to make the plays when needed. Mike Evans, of course, 69 yards, making some heck of some catches. Didn't have a TD. They used McMillan on the rushing, passing TD, and they also tried using another. But Jordan Lewis made an incredible interception. Deron Bland taking the ball away. A lot of pops and hits from this Dallas defense. Cooper Rush, hey, had a pretty good game. Not pretty solid. 292 yards in a TD. I like that. Rushing game was terrible, but we'll get there. Hopefully we can get Ash next year. I'd love to use Rico as a running back too, though. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to keep him on the team. CeeDee Lamb under 5 yards. He's doing great. Had another 1,000-yard season. Of course, he is that guy. Love to see Dallas, and I love to see them get this win for motivation going into next year. Maybe ruin the Buccaneers' playoff chances. And then lastly, just pure domination by the Packers, clinching the playoffs, and I really feel bad. The Saints just had a lot of injuries. Surprisingly, if you tell anyone, they'd be surprised beginning of the season if you told them that this team would be 5-10 going into Week 17. It's like, how? A lot of injuries happened, and you just don't. I know Derek Carr's, he's not a top quarterback, but he used to be. He was helping this team more. Alvin Kamara kept getting hurt. Chris Olave, Raheem Shaheed. Yeah, it's just not enough. And this defense is better than that. But once again, Packers running out another throat. Josh Jacobs, they kept out the second half for scoring. Jane Reed finally getting back into it. I had him on fantasy, but I guess not want to do it. Now he's wanting to start to play. Jordan Love, 182 yards in the TD, so good playing for him. He's been great since Week 11. This Green Bay Packers team might be able to make a push for the Super Bowl. I honestly think they'll be a division round team. And that'd be a good video idea. How far you think this team is capable of going? I think we'll be able to do that next week, but we'll also see. I have a whole schedule. Well, Dog Squad, I want to thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, send them more videos. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Just to let you know, if you want to go vote on my poll, we have 8 votes right now. Go vote what you want me to change, if anything. If you do want me to get rid of something, there is something for that. Sorry, it's actually the opposite. If you want me to get rid of something, you vote that. If you want me to change something, I'll have a poll later out, probably around after Friday, probably on Saturday, of what I should change. What do you want me to more change now? If there's something, it's if I might make like 2 things, or I might make another one. I'll figure something out this week of what I need to make the poll on. But it'll be something to fix this channel in views wise and subscribing rate, because I'd love to get to 1K. I understand everyone's busy, but I of course want to make my channel the best it can be, and I want something to be able to fix that so other people and all of y'all Dog Squad we can get more people on here on the video. I'm not begging for anything. I'm not looking at it all the time. I just want to be able to make this channel more interesting like it used to be. I guess like it used to be, because there's something that I fix. Maybe that's not the problem. Maybe it's not. But we're going to fix it anyways, because apparently if it's nothing, it'd be winning right now, because it's not. But it is something that they want me to change something of it. So that's at least a good thing. So I'll make sure to change something. Maybe I can change my own way, or you can just leave down in the comment below how you want me to change it. I can maybe make the graph. Maybe it's a graphical issue, and I could also ask what things out of those things you want me to change. The predictions, I said on that poll I would not change predictions. I would not get rid of it, but I can go ahead and change that, so I might put that on the poll too. There'll be only a couple things, it's only maximum up to 4, so we'll do that, and it should be good enough to do whatever we need to do to make this channel as good as it can be. Thank you so much for Dog Squad for watching. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Ho, 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 ho!